Do you love us?
I love you, man.
Man.
The best immigrants any country can ever get, man. The most respectful, the most hardworking, probably more British than us.
All
love
right,
you.
mate. Take care, fellas.
Cheers, bruv.
See you later.
Thanks, mate.
Roanna Carleton Taylor of Resisting Hate watched the debate between Towler and Rikki Doolan of British Lives Matter. She uses the pejorative fash to describe ethno-nationalists, which is disappointing. Pejoratives generate more heat than light. This is her tweet and we're going to be breaking it down. I'm often asked why I won't debate fash, that's the pejorative, partly because I refuse to give hate a platform, but also because when they lose a debate, they claim to have won it. I watched this debate. Towler did a shocking job and lost. I'm going to give you a synopsis of the debate before we look at Mr. Robinson's clip and analyse that in a little more depth. First off, I don't believe Miss Towler lost the debate, never mind lost it emphatically. That debate was ill-defined and messy. The reason for that was because whoever set up the framework for that debate didn't do so in a way to facilitate a proper dialogue. A proper dialogue that we could follow, which was confined to a set topic. For a debate to work, what you require is a narrowed out topic which both debaters abide by, so they stick to that topic and stick to the debate parameters, and the debate title that's got to be styled as a question rather than titled as person X versus person Y. So in this case, Miss Towler versus Mr. Doolan. That doesn't really facilitate a proper discussion that the viewers, the listeners can follow. And the big issue with this debate was both sides spoke past each other. That's because the crucial definition of how we should define a Brit was not ironed out beforehand. And in the case of Mr. Doolan, he seemed, well, he made out he was unaware that there were two definitions in use, the civic Brit definition and the ethnic Brit definition. This would have fell under the first principles of debating. Miss Towler, to her credit, was the only one really pushing the dialogue towards first principles. Mr. Doolan seemed utterly unaware of an ethnic definition for Britishness. It was almost like it was an alien concept to him. My gut feeling is that was a ploy, a debate ploy, a debate tactic. Most people know at a gut level, a visceral level, they get it. They know that there is something called an ethnic Brit. They learn this through experience and a natural disposition. So in fact they don't really learn it. It's just a natural disposition. It's innate within them. It's something given, and only disingenuous people will challenge it, or people who are unaware of the facts on the ground, ignorant people if you like. For me, the defining moment of the debate is Mr. Doolan being so incredulous to the idea that two 16-year-olds with African parentage born here are not considered to be British by Miss Towler. At that moment, you learned all you could from that debate. I can quite confidently speculate that Mr. Doolan's grandparents would have held a similar definition of what a Brit is as what Miss Towler believes. That says it all. One definition is a modern one. The other one is long-standing, traditional and natural. I would love to know how Mr. Doolan would process somebody like Brian of Tel Aviv.
In my forest again in Tel Aviv. This is Brian of London. I am in Tel Aviv. Much as... no, I'm not going to say that line. Anyway, yes, I'm no longer in London, as people have asked. I left there 10 years ago, moved to Israel, and I'm an Israeli, an indigenous Jew in Israel.
Born in South Africa, raised in the UK, but considers himself something else now. It would have been more productive and beneficial to the listener if they had confined the debate to this topic Are civic Brits just as British as ethnic Brits? That would have been an interesting topic. This would have taken Mr. Doolan into deep waters which Miss Towler was pushing him into to a large degree. She was really trying to veer the debate into that direction, forcing him to swim with those sharks in the deep ocean, which he did not want a piece of, because he knew that was a winning position for Miss Towler, as it shows the Ziosivnats are selling out their oblivious supporters' heritage, their birthright and their identity. That's all being sold out from underneath their noses, all for a few shekels. And those shekels are not going to their supporters, I guarantee you that. Those shekels are going to folks like Mr. Doolan, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Golding, Miss Anne-Marie Waters, those characters, we all know it. They're all selling out their supporters' birthrights.
Do you love us?
I love you, man.
Man.
The best immigrants any country can ever get, man. The most respectful, the most hardworking, probably more British than us.
All
love
right,
you.
mate. Take care, fellas.
Cheers, bruv.
See you later.
Mate.
In that clip, Mr. Robinson was invoking civic nationalism in an effort to virtue signal and blow smoke up the backsides of his Asian ethnic tokens, as well as this community that he's championing. I don't know which community it is for sure, I've got my suspicions. What happens here is he falls foul to his gut feelings, that visceral instinct, that innate disposition, by saying us and drawing a distinction between us and the immigrant class. The word us here refers to ethnic Brits, and for him to proclaim that a group of immigrants have surpassed this group is bizarre and it's unnatural. It goes against the gut instinct. You know it, we all know it. But for Mr. Doolan's benefit, Mr. Robinson is aware that there's a distinction and there's two definitions of that word Brit. What that was the natural instinct and the gut feeling manifesting itself in Mr. Robinson. Miss Towler is honest enough to verbalise that natural feeling. If Mr. Doolan has a gripe with Miss Towler for being honest enough to express innate sentiments, then one should ask why. Why is Mr. Doolan so upset with this? The zeitgeist demands we self-censor and conform to liberal beliefs whilst we mask gut feelings, visceral feelings, natural dispositions.